Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the motion on the recommittal of clauses 20, 24, paragraph 2, 25, paragraph 2C of the National Health Insurance Act, Repeal and Re-enactment Bill 2021 to the Committee of the Whole. The Senate recalls that the National Health Insurance Act, Repeal and Re-enactment Bill 2021 was passed by the National Assembly and was transmitted to the President, Commander-in-Chief for assent in April 2020.
Order!
Observes that after critical examination of the bill by the President, Commander-in-Chief, some fundamental issues which require fresh legislative action on the following clauses 20, 24, paragraph 2, and 25, paragraph 2C were raised. Desirous of the need to address the President's observation and make necessary amendments, and relying on Order 1B and 53B of Senate Order, accordingly, the Senate rescinds the decision on the affected clauses of the bill as passed and recommits same to the Committee of the Whole for consideration and passage. Thank you, Mr. President.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think the amendment, as we discussed earlier, should just be money that may be appropriated. I think it's just to remove the word allocated to the vulnerable group fund, and it stops there. Because only the National Assembly does appropriation. So the issue of saying whether special intervention or whatever does not really, what is important is the appropriation. So we should say money that may be appropriated to the vulnerable group fund. If we want to add the National Assembly, fine. It's just for emphasis.
Is that the National Assembly may not initiate special funding. But the executive can say this is a special funding. But what is necessary is for the National Assembly to approve that special funding. So if we just say National Assembly, this thing, I think we may limit it. Yes, Chairman.
I urge that we put it as special intervention fund, because why we are doing that is to cure the C that we are removing now. Because the C that we wanted is a kind of special fund allocation. Otherwise, the vulnerable group fund will not have funding to take care of what it's supposed to take care of. More than 70% of Nigerians are poor and they don't have access to insurance. They are not in job. We want certain kind of money. That's why that tax was created. But because it is not in line, I want to suggest, Mr. Chairman, support your suggestion that it should be in special intervention fund appropriated by, we can say appropriation by the National Assembly, but it means it's a special fund, but I want allocation to be there as well by government and appropriated. So it's still, we are not losing anything by saying that. But that special intervention means there must be a special intervention fund to be created by the executive and bring it to the National Assembly to appropriate. Or we will create it, we are creating it through this law.
Down with it. I'm done with this new proposal now. Yes, sir.
Amendment can only make meaning if we say such other monies that may be granted to the vulnerable group by the federal government. So it will continue to come by way of grant. And grant can come from service-wide vote from any other source. And this is the only way you can cure it. But because if you now say money that may be allocated to the vulnerable group, you cannot allocate money. And when you use appropriation, only the National Assembly has power to appropriate. But the power to grant by the federal government is an inherent power. So therefore, if we say such other monies that may be granted to the vulnerable group fund by the federal government, that's okay. Then the federal government has liberty to grant or not to grant.
Well, engaging in the debate, if you say money may be granted and then National Assembly left out, by the time you give such grants in many places, you would have lost your power of appropriation. they'll just be granting money like that and you won't have anything to say because the law would have supported it. I don't know, this is the way I'm thinking. Sorry?
Your Excellency, just like Senator Lala said, any grant that is coming from service wife is appropriated. There's no grant of federal government that is not appropriated by National Assembly. So I think you are correct. It has to be as appropriated by National Assembly.
Because that tax was what we thought would be a big source of funding to get vulnerable Nigerians to have access to insurance. So if you don't put it as a tax, we put it as an intervention fund. And it means that every year when appropriation is coming, there must be a special intervention fund for vulnerable groups which will appropriate. So because we have used the word special intervention fund, it means that intervention fund must be part of the budget. It's no more discretionary as a grant. That's my submission, Mr. Chairman.
Say we do not want or we are not comfortable with that, then we can as well say that such other money that may accrue to the vulnerable group fund by way of appropriation from the National Assembly. That takes care of the situation.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that this bill be now read the third time, say aye. Those against, say nay. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the National Health Insurance Scheme Act, CAP N42 LFN 2004, and to enact the National Health Insurance Authority Bill 2021 to provide for the promotion, regulation, and integration of health insurance schemes in Nigeria and for related matters 2021, third reading.
A bill for an Health Insurance Scheme Act, CAP N42 Laws for the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the National Health Insurance Authority Bill 2021 to provide for the promotion, regulation, and integration of health insurance schemes in Nigeria and for related matters 2021, third reading taken, and the bill is passed.